Welcome to the Trading Raw Stories podcast. I'm Rita Pira, the host with the most inspiring stories that you ever did hear. Back in the day when the day was back, I was known as the juicing queen. I became raw vegan overnight after watching a documentary called Food Matters. Changing what I was putting in and on my body didn't just make me lose weight and have great skin, it gave me mind clarity, more energy, and over time made me so self-aware and intuitive that I vibrate on a higher frequency and level of consciousness that's turned me into a manifesting queen. I've lived like 9 lives and have amazing stories to share that may inspire you to leave that guy you're with, quit that job you hate, start that business you've been talking about forever, and at the very least, you'll probably start saying yes more often. I'm your tell it like you need to hear it and make you do it, sister from another mister. I've lived quite the life and have stories for days that have inspired women and transformed their lives in real big ways. So I created this podcast to share my insane and somewhat unbelievable stories with the world to reach whoever needs to hear them. I'll bring on people with stories to trade with me, and I'll even have some live coaching sessions from listeners calling in. You're here because you were meant to find this podcast, this community, these raw stories. There are no coincidences. Everything happens for you, not to you, and I am so glad you're here. What's up, guys and gals, or just guys, because I call everybody guys. Anyway, I don't want this podcast to be scripted. I don't. I want to bring you real and raw conversations that I have with people to give you the whole God, I wish I could be a fly on a wall kind of feeling or vibe, because I've had such amazing conversations with women that I've transformed their lives. Well, actually, you know what? They transformed their own lives. I just inspired them to take action, to finally do the thing that they knew they needed to do. It's almost like they just had to hear it from someone else that was kind of like a tell it like you need to hear it, just push you and fucking call you out on your shit, make you look at it, and then do something about it. That's me. I do that for you. So if you need somebody to shake you to your core and make you do the thing that you're scared to do, hit me up. I got you. But anyway, so I've had a lot of conversations where I'm like, God, I wish I recorded that, or that should be an episode. And so I started to secretly record conversations. Shit's about to get realer. Is that even a word? I don't know. I'm making things up right now. It's after midnight. You know how I do, guys. I'm a night owl. Anyway, so let's get into this. First, let me just tell you, I have a guest for you. This is going to be some really deep shit. This was the very first recording that I did with anybody before this podcast was even a thing. It was just an idea, and I was testing it out. So I literally was on Zoom with this girl, and I said to her, so tell me a story. And that was the whole concept. So I'm going to play that raw ass conversation for you. But first, I want to tell you about my guest. Her name is Angela Moore. She's a mindset activist and mindset coach for women who are experiencing pain in their lives that are looking to move past it so that they could attract the joy and fulfillment that they've always dreamed of. She's a mom, a former restaurant owner, a former tech manager. She's got a degree in psychology. She's also a writer who's been featured in the Elephant Journal and Thrive Global, just to name a couple. And she's determined to help women move past their limiting beliefs and into the lives that they're always dreaming of and blocking themselves from. So aren't you lucky to learn from her story? You ready? Let's do it. So Angela Moore, tell me your story.
Okay, so yeah, essentially I'm going to tell you my story, and the reason I'm going to tell it to you is because my story is the catalyst for me, figuring out my own truth, which I am now passionate to, use for good and help other people with. So essentially, I grew up in a happy home, no real trauma or anything regarding, my early childhood, but the truth is that I am an empath by nature. And about the time that I started to become a teenager, when social pressure and, the need to feel accepted and liked kind of takes an even greater front seat than it maybe would have in earlier years. what ended up happening is I became caught in a kind of like a conditioning cycle trap, if you will, where I made myself flexible to the needs of others because that allowed me to receive more validation, more acceptance, and um, just uh, more of everything that felt good as a teenager. And
I was the
so,
same people pleaser for sure.
yeah, exactly,
You know, that comes from the limiting belief that comes from that, I believe, is I'm not worthy
exactly,
or I'm worthless.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and
It's the
exactly
same
when
about
we,
giving and giving and not taking, like not receiving, not being
yeah,
able to receive. Like,
yeah,
if I may, when I moved to California and I didn't have a job, and I was looking for one, I had to rely on my boyfriend at the time to pay for everything. And
yeah,
he insisted he was okay with that. And it still hurt physically in my body to allow anybody to do things for me. It crushed my spirit, it crushed my soul. It made me feel less than, like I don't
absolutely,
deserve this. I
yeah,
don't deserve for someone to be taking care of me. I'm supposed to be taking care of me. I can't count on anyone else. And then I don't like to feel like I owe people or they have something over me. That's another thing I discovered. Not having a job for the first time in my life. I've been independent on my own, taking care of myself and my mom, and I bought the house they live in, and I buy the car she drives, and I buy the phone she, like, even if I'm struggling and I can't, I still do it. I was always giving and giving and giving. And later I found out, I realized he was resenting me because I also reminded him of his ex because she wasn't working and wasn't doing things. I was like, I am not her.
you know what I think that is? The feeling of not being enough, just who you are, feeling that the only way that you are
Yeah.
able to be worth something is if you are contributing, like in like a tangible way, or if you're doing, you have to be.
Listeners can't see, but I'm nodding like I'm right now. This,
Yeah,
this is so true.
yeah,
I definitely 100% feel that is very accurate.
yeah. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
so it
Like,
just comes down to like accepting that.
and even more, what it was, I learned this from my mom, bless her heart, but cooking and cleaning and taking care of the house, like you could eat off the floor of our apartment. It was that
Yeah.
beautifully decorated and with so much love. And that is how I show love. But it's
Mhm.
also how I feel validated.
Yeah,
I need to feel appreciated.
yeah,
And that is it. Wow. And that comes from the whole I'm not enough and I'm not enough and I do the most and I don't feel like I'm worthy of anything if I don't pull it off. If I can't wake up in the morning and make you breakfast or make you juice, or if I don't manage to squeeze in making you lunch or making you dinner, or cleaning the house, like I feel I'm not doing my job.
yeah.
And you'll judge me and you'll look at me in a negative way if that's not, like, not done, but it's not expected of me, and
No.
it was never put on me. I put it on myself to be the giver automatically, just like
And
that.
we know this, like we
Mhm.
know that like we're the ones that have to change our own mindset about ourselves in order to even attract a partner, that for
Mm.
instance isn't going to resent you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And that there's like narcissistic men empaths tend to be attracting narcissistic men. This is what we're talking about. Tell me about that part of your
Yes.
story. So go
So
on, tell
exactly.
me your
So,
story.
and that's like a perfect segue because as I got
Yeah.
older, essentially the way that I was, my empathic, giving, overly giving self, the self that also buried my own needs and my own truths, like super deep down, even though now looking back on it, there was like a deep yearning within me that probably manifested itself as like anxiety, depression, and really all that was me living in out of alignment with who I was and not expressing who I was, really at all.
You know what
And
I think about that too? Um, it's like your inner being is suffering on the inside, and it's
yeah,
like clawing at you from the inside. Like, get out, leave this. Why are you here? Stop,
yeah.
stop, stop. Like, stop doing this to yourself. Why are you forcing yourself to stay? Why are you still doing this? Why are you still here? It doesn't feel good. Let's go.
It's always just a signal,
Yeah.
it's just a signal that you need to get back to yourself.
Mm-hmm. It is. And then we don't pay attention or we ignore it or we justify staying or whatever the situation is. But you're out of alignment, that's for sure, because you're not doing what your inner being or your soul is yearning for or
No,
deserves.
that's what's going on. And I don't mean to reduce it to such like a simple sentence. It's just really collectively and individually us living out of sync with ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It's
Um,
true. And then it's the energy too. So when you have anger or resentment or hate or fear, all of these are negative, low vibrating energy. And
yeah,
so what
exactly.
happens is just like how you said it manifested into anxiety, right?
Yeah,
Or it can manifest into neck pain or back pain or
yeah,
shoulder, you know what I mean? So that's the thing.
totally,
People don't realize that when it's actually getting stored in your body somewhere,
totally. Yeah.
and it can manifest as tumors, it can manifest as headaches, it can manifest as stomach pain or whatever disease or illness that, or even anxiety,
And it's such a
depression.
cycle. It's like
Mm,
it's just it builds on itself because when you're feeling that way, then you are attracting everything to meet that vibration, including like the foods that you eat and, just really everything like around you. And so that was like me and I feel like it like so many people just kind of kept snowballing.
yeah,
And
it touches
anytime,
everything in your life.
yeah, like
Your
anytime that something
relationship, your job.
totally,
Mhm,
everything,
mhm,
like friendships. And so as time went on and I got older, I continued to perpetuate this idea that when things weren't going wrong, it meant that I wasn't trying hard enough or I wasn't giving enough.
mhm.
And so on another side, another like aspect of what I was dealing with was me not feeling like what I was doing was enough. And so in addition to attracting a partner in my 20s who was very narcissistic, like the perfect mirror to my toxic empath personality, I would say,
Yeah,
victim
yeah.
personality.
Wow, I
He was
can
like
relate.
the perpetrator narcissist.
Mhm.
I I had also started a restaurant with friends, not because it was something that I was passionate about, but because it was something that I felt would finally prove my worth in terms of like career. And so it was meant to open in a big city in Canada, in Vancouver, with a TV show, filming the opening. We had DJs that were the top in the city, coming in and playing. We had a chef who was a Chatelaine top women to watch, and so she brought, a ton of press and accolades when she joined. Um, just a whole bunch of circumstances at that time that really I didn't realize it, while I was in it, but it was like creating a perfect storm of what would later crumble.
Yeah. So that's
Um,
the thing. Like you said earlier, you get signs, right? There's all these different signs, and we
yeah,
ignore them. We ignore them. We ignore them for so long until one day the universe gets so loud with you that
exactly.
you cannot ignore it anymore.
Hmm.
Something has to be done, or something happened that forces you to
It's
basically
so
do what you're
true.
supposed to do from the beginning. I have so many examples of this.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
don't you
gosh.
find that like right before the message is so loud that you can't hear it anymore? You know, for instance, like back to my example, I'm the universe had been nagging at me this
Mm,
whole time, but
mhm.
I was trying so hard that the situations that I was creating were getting bigger and bigger and bigger in like a, a larger attempt to try to push those messages aside. And
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
the boyfriend who was the biggest addictive, narcissistic, toxic, just everything low vibration
Oh
and
my gosh.
that you could possibly imagine. That plus the restaurant was my final attempt, my loudest attempt to run from myself and to to prove to myself that it would all be okay as long as I just kept trying bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, and so the straw that broke the camel's back was I had walked away from the restaurant because it was so big. It got so big, and so popular that it was too much.
That's amazing, though. You
It was,
started a
but
restaurant and then it became this big, amazing thing, and you
it
just
did.
walked away from it. Like,
I didn't walk away at the peak. I walked away. It was big, but it was short lived. It
mm,
reminds me of some sort of like, live fast, die young
yeah,
saying.
it
It was
wasn't for you. It wasn't feeding your soul. And you
no,
just paid attention to that.
and there was no sustainable, mindful intent behind it, and
Mm,
so it was destined to fail.
that's true,
Um,
huh? When something doesn't have the good energy, like the reason, the why behind it, it won't sustain
exactly.
itself. Yeah,
It never
totally.
can.
No,
Um,
that's interesting.
and so I had walked away from that, which was the first tipping point for me. I was emotionally and physically and mentally exhausted. I went back home to my parents' house, and I think I had like a complete breakdown
Mm,
and stayed with them for a week.
wow.
Um, but the the major catalyst was still to follow, in that I was still with the boyfriend that I had attracted during that time,
Yeah.
and became pregnant with twins. And as time went on, that situation really shed major light on um, the really toxic, addictive, narcissistic behavior that came out of
Wow.
him, and that really shook me. Because the really great thing about narcissists at the beginning is that they can be very captivating, very
Oh, yeah.
unlike anyone that you would really meet.
Yeah.
They have a quality about them that is undeniably difficult to even resist,
Oh
really.
my gosh, it's so true.
Um, and so the terrible part of that is that it can also flip on its head very
Mhm,
quickly.
mhm.
And so that can be really difficult. If I,
I just went through that.
and so had you ever been like with someone like that, or known someone like that closely
Worse.
before?
I was
Okay.
with someone worse, and then from then, I just was dating. I wasn't looking for anything, and even when I met him, I wasn't, but it
Yeah.
just happened, and the way that it happened, the story is so amazing, honestly. Like, I was living in New York, he was living in California, and we both had these circumstances in life that pushed us basically to go back home,
Yeah.
and home was around the same area.
Yeah.
And we met the first month I was there. And ever since we met, we were inseparable. And then we had so many crazy coincidences. I don't believe that there's such
I
thing as coincidence. So whether we were meant to be and end up happily ever after or not, I think that you meet people for a reason.
Yeah.
And because I met him, I grew in ways that I needed to grow in, to the point where I'm on Zoom with you right now with a microphone, and I'm on video and my hair is in a bun and I don't have any makeup on.
Yeah.
Like, that is because of him. Full credit. I
Yeah.
will give him that. Because of him, I really stopped wearing makeup and then started realizing I don't need it. And
Yeah.
this is coming from someone who was bullied in elementary school and then in high school, like so bad that I wanted to kill myself. In
Yeah.
elementary school, I tried transferring, they wouldn't let me.
Wow.
I would go home crying every single day. I would be bullied and teased. Do you know what they would call me? Teen wolf.
Oh my God.
Imagine being a 11, 12, 13-year-old girl being howled at like a wolf when you walk past, and then
Wow.
being called TW for short. Then they would howl, ow, ow, hey, TW. It's like, what? How? I'm the nicest, sweetest, kindest, biggest hearted person you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm being treated for no reason, because my skin was darker than theirs and I had hair on my arms and really thick eyebrows, thick bushy hair. Like, I was not a cute kid by any means, but imagine how a woman at my age or in my 20s or whatever, all my life I've been piling on the makeup
Yeah.
because of that. I
Yeah.
didn't even have a chance to believe I was pretty or cute or whatever. It
It was
was
ingrained.
completely.
Yeah.
I've gotten compliments. This is why women who go, when you compliment them, oh, you're so pretty. No, I'm not. Stop. Shut up. Like, that's where that comes from.
They're restricting that flow of energy to,
Mm-hmm.
they're not internalizing it because it's not what they feel.
Exactly.
They've been taught to feel the
Mm-hmm.
opposite.
And so I carried that with me all my life. And I'd look
Yeah.
in the mirror and I would see flaws,
Yeah.
you know?
Which is amazing because, if this is something that manifests as an audio recording, you're actually like one of the most beautiful people. But it's just amazing to me that someone can be so beautiful yet, still carry this belief. It just goes to show you that it really has nothing to do uh,
It's so deep. It's so
with
deep.
the physical.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to talk about. And I love your story so much. And there's so much more to it and so much depth that, like, it's just, I want people to hear it start to finish. I really, really do, because it's so powerful. But I feel like there are so many different topics that I want to talk with you about, because we both
Yeah.
have had so many similar experiences that it's like, I'm going to have you on my podcast like once a week or something like, because you're the perfect person, and you even have a degree in psychology. Like,
I've had to like
come
stop
on,
myself from
for
going down
saying that.
additional tangents. No,
Oh,
with you when you say other things, like I
yeah,
had to stop myself from piping in and saying like
but you should. And
my similarity in that situation as well, because
that's
I
even more
don't want to get
powerful.
off topic.
You should do it. No, you should. Anytime that you have an inspired thought or an idea, and this is my problem with people, when I have like a thought and it comes to me and it's like, "Oh, I have to tell you right now." So I have to
Yeah,
stop myself and hold it
yeah,
and remember it to tell you after you're done talking,
yeah,
because I don't want to interrupt you or take you off your storyline, right? That
yeah,
you're sharing. But at the same time, it can direct it in the way that it should be going or was meant to go with that inspired thought.
yeah.
Why don't we talk about, why do you stay in a relationship when you know it's not working?
Totally.
I want to excite people. I
Okay.
want to motivate. I want to inspire. I want the women listening that are in toxic relationships to feel inspired to leave.
So I would say like one of the first things that I would address is like the why. Like what's the fundamental reason that we're not experiencing the life that we want?
Yeah.
The first step is always to become aware of it. And the way that I became aware of it was through being rejected.
Being rejected?
Yeah. My ex broke up with me when I became pregnant with twins. He left me
That's
and
crazy.
then bullied me into trying to have an abortion and so on and so forth. And
Oh
the
my God.
catalyst for me was that I didn't have control anymore. And so I became aware of this part of myself when I had to let go of the fact that there was no amount of trying anymore that was going to fix anything. And that's what made me realize that this is something that I've been doing my whole life. And
Wow.
when I became pregnant, it shifted within me something that made me now want to focus on knowing that I had to focus on taking care of someone who now relied on me. And this was big enough to make me put down the rope that I'd been holding on to for so long, that was always me trying to please a little bit more, try a little bit harder in every relationship that I had been in. And as soon as I put down that rope or put down those weights, it doesn't matter what you want to call it. It was just, I put down that energy and just like let it go. That's where it began to heal.
Wow.
So the first step is really just whether you get pushed up against a wall and you are needing to change because the pain is like too big to endure and the weight is too heavy to bear. That could end up being the catalyst for you. But one way or another, you have to get to that point where you realize that it's not the trying that's going to change anything anymore. And the trying was never something that changed anything. It just got me further and further away from myself. The
Hmm.
only way to stop once and for all people pleasing is to put down that rope and realize that you don't have to do anything. In fact, just
To be
being
loved or to be enough.
just being is enough,
Yeah.
you know?
We don't feel that, do we?
No, we
Mm-mm.
don't.
So tell me, what is people pleasing?
There's two different types of people pleasing. There's people pleasing in like a productive, healthy way. And that's something that, many of us do. And an example of that would be to do something nice for your spouse, or, you know, do something nice for someone that you love.
Mm,
Buy something nice for someone.
mm-hmm.
Do something if someone asks you to. Um, but the second type of people pleasing, and the type that we talk about that is very toxic, is the type of people pleasing that puts us out of alignment with ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's people pleasing in order to fill a hole within ourselves that
At your
exists.
own expense too. Like that's why you fall
Exactly.
out of alignment because you're doing something that you're putting yourself out
Yeah,
too much.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
And so that's what people pleasing is in this context.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so as time went on, I put down the rope. And something that we didn't talk about, as much the last time we talked, and that I want to be really clear on, is the need, a second huge component to, so step one would be becoming aware that there is a situation. Step
Mm-hmm.
two would be putting down the weight and just allowing yourself to feel all the emotions that you've been running from your entire life.
But how do you do that? Like for somebody who's saying, okay, I think I'm a people pleaser and okay, I'm aware of it now. And how do I put down this weight? How do I feel all the things that I don't even know where they come from? I don't know what they are and why I am this way. What if it's someone who's never really put the pieces together, connected the dots from their
Well,
childhood or where this came from or whatever it may be?
for sure. I think one of the easiest ways, honestly, and I can really only speak from experience,
Mm-hmm.
but try sitting with yourself for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Turn off any distractions and see what comes up. Because I'll tell you what, if there's something there, it's going to come
It'll
up.
come out. Yeah.
If you're going to,
That's why meditation is so
if
powerful.
you allow it,
Yeah.
if you give it the space, it will surface. If that feels too hard, because I do understand, like a lot of people, that's a lot of people struggle with meditating
Mm.
genuinely, and I know that.
Yeah.
Something else I would suggest is just writing.
That actually, I love that you said that. I've been reading The Artist's Way,
Yeah,
Julia Cameron. Um,
yeah,
it's been coming up for me. It came up for me twice in the last year to read this book. And I have, I don't know, 10 books on my nightstand that I'm dying to get to, and so many
yeah,
that I'm halfway through. I put them all on hold to read this book. And one of the things that she says to do is morning pages.
yeah,
And that's 3 pages
yeah,
of writing.
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy when you're just trying to journal a paragraph or a page, you end up like you're like, okay, I have nothing else to say, but then you have to write 3 pages
yeah,
first thing in the morning. And it's
yeah,
kind of like a brain drain, she calls it.
yeah,
And so you're emptying all the busy thoughts, the things that, so then you clear that, then you have room for creativity.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the root of it usually.
Mm. So step one is becoming aware that you are a people pleaser. Own that shit. And step two is put down the weight and feel the feelings. Stop carrying that with you. Let it all out. You can meditate or you can
You can,
write.
you can go out into nature.
Just be alone. Sit with yourself.
There are many ways to do it, but the key is to be without distraction,
Mm-hmm.
and again to just be with yourself, and whether that be just again like with your own mind, or through a more like expressive means. Art is another like way to express emotion
Mm-hmm.
creatively, and to help
I just
identify. It's really the whole point here is to help identify what it is that you need to understand about yourself, and what it is that you need to move past. Because if you can't do that, then you can't move past it, right? Like how can you bring awareness to what you don't know?
that's true. That's
um,
definitely true. I got my people pleasing from my mom for sure.
yeah,
I grew up watching her cook and clean and take care of everybody,
yeah,
putting herself last. I
yeah,
put myself last. I'm going to have Nancy Levin on my podcast, and we are going to talk about putting yourself first and setting
great,
boundaries and her
great,
2 books. So that'll be
yes.
really good because I learned that from my mama. Um,
And how amazing is it that she's giving you this opportunity to be something not necessarily bigger, but more aware in
mm,
your own life.
mm-hmm.
Once you become aware of what it is you're trying to heal, the next step is to change your thoughts about it. And this takes a lot of practice, but essentially, the idea here is to observe the thoughts that come up and find your way to better ones regarding the situation.
I love that. You know Gabby Bernstein, right?
Yeah.
So she has this whole choose again method. Have you heard of that?
Okay. No.
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, what we do, what you just said. Like it's known, I guess, to spiritual people is like, okay, I just had this negative thought. I'm gonna shift that and reframe it to a positive one and
Yeah.
believe that one instead.
Yeah. And so something that I want to say about that is that for big thoughts about, let's say, something, really scary that's happening in the world,
Mm-hmm.
let's say that's something that's really stressing you out, or a big, you know, limiting belief about yourself that you've carried with you your whole life, and you're now just becoming aware of it and trying to shift, right?
Mm,
It's not always feasible for someone to just simply choose better thoughts.
right, and then believe
um,
them right away.
yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't
that
happen.
that can be too big of a leap.
Mm-hmm. So she says
And
choose the next best or the
yes,
closest to feeling good, the next possible one, and then another one, and then another one, and another one.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's I try to refer to as more of just like a softening of the negative thought first.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to just go from like, I'm worthless and nothing, to, like I'm worth everything, and I'm perfect just the way that I am. Because
Yeah.
again, like that is too big of a cognitive leap. And so I'm really not that familiar with like the particulars of Gabby Bernstein's methods, but I
Yeah.
have a feeling it's really similar.
Similar. Yeah, definitely.
So let's take this pandemic for an example. The anxiety and the fear can be, something along the lines of, the world is in such a like terrible state, so many people are dying, so on and so forth, and so a softening of that thought would be to say something along the lines of, I don't have to figure this all out right now. um, yes, there are a lot of things going on in the world that are beyond my control, but there have been times of, good and times of bad in the history of mankind. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that everything crumbles as a result. In fact, if I look out my window right now, I can see that the sun's still shining and the birds are still chirping. And actually, it's a really beautiful day. I'm actually really lucky because I have a home. I have clean water. I have a healthy body. And now that I think of it, I haven't even really been sick in a while.
Me too. I
Like
never get sick.
I eat healthy. And I mean, this is just an example of how to slowly soften the anxiety that you feel around like the pandemic and, getting sick and so on and so forth. That's just like one example
Yeah,
of
that's a
bad
good one.
thought patterns. And what I was saying after that was just, an example of how to just slowly inchworm your way toward better feeling thoughts by just focusing on kind of one thing at a time. So again, it's just softening and slowly and gently turning towards something better.
Yeah, that's
And
definitely the
so,
way for sure.
yeah, that's what I would say can be applied to any situation. And if you practice that enough, not only finding better thoughts, but before that, becoming aware of your negative thoughts when they come up,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to change your whole life. And it's not going to be easy at the beginning, especially for me, as I went through everything and I gave birth to my daughter and still continue to experience, complete postpartum anxiety because I hadn't quite caught up with myself yet. It really felt like for a long time I was just treading water and hanging on for dear life. And although I would apply these principles, there were so many times where I felt like they weren't working and that it wasn't helping. And I really felt like the old saying, attitude really follows behavior, is true in a lot of circumstances where you are still very much in a place where you're still not feeling good and you're just at the beginning stages of being aware of all the negativity, but yet it's still all around you.
Yeah.
You just need my number one piece of advice would be to just not give up, because you will over time create new patterns, but sometimes it can take a little while. And I don't want to overcomplicate it, because the truth is, I don't know about solving every problem with just like simple profound solutions, but like I really believe that like the best solutions are actually like really simple.
They really are,
Yeah.
especially like the morning pages thing. That
Yeah.
that alone, just writing 3 pages a day
Yeah.
in the first thing in the morning, just brain dump, brain
Yeah.
drain,
Yeah.
3 pages. If
Yeah.
you do that alone, that'll change your life.
Exactly. Like I feel like we overcomplicate a lot and we psychoanalyze a lot and we,
Mm-hmm.
like
Read into things
and
and
we read into things, but
oh,
it's really just comes down to being aware of your own thoughts and then finding better ones.
yeah. Since we did go through this people pleasing bit and got some good strategies for listeners to take away and apply in their lives so they could start seeing changes in positive ways. I think your thoughts definitely become your reality. And I heard Deepak once say that when you take a look at your current circumstances, they're a result of thoughts you had before.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's nothing more important than your thoughts right
Your
now,
thoughts. It all starts with your thoughts. Your
because they're
thoughts
going to,
are beliefs, right?
yes,
So your beliefs are what are creating your emotions. Your emotions are creating behaviors. Your behavior is creating your life.
exactly.
So if you change your thoughts, you change your life. Mic drop.
I love what you're doing. I think that you are meant to be doing this.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut your face. You shut up right now.
You're very intuitive.
I am. I feel energy. I feel vibes. I could tell when someone is not happy, not liking me, or defensive, or, just developed an opinion. I can see your face develop an opinion. It's
Yeah.
insane.
That's really good. You're in the right like field.
It's wild. So, as I'm sitting here recording with you, I'm thinking thoughts that I should not be thinking, that I catch, that are negative,
Yeah.
that completely contradict what you just said about me. So I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe I'm bad at this. Maybe this is, maybe she's not enjoying it. Maybe I have no idea what I'm doing. And maybe I shouldn't do this after all. Like,
But
that
you
is what
might,
I started thinking. I'm like, this sucks. I'm doing a terrible job and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm really being a judgy perfectionist. And my ego's talking me out of this because I'm inching closer and closer and closer to actually making this real. Like I've been talking about this for so long. I've had so many ideas about it. I finally got clear and I'm taking action and I'm doing it. And so my
Yeah.
ego's like, fuck, she's really doing it. And
You're
then I'm going to fuck with her while she's doing it.
so there's something called the upper limit. Have you ever heard of Gay Hendricks? And
No,
the
I got to write this
yeah,
down.
he has a series of books, but one of them is called The Big Leap. And what he talks about is this huge conundrum that often happens to people. He calls this idea you moving towards your zone of genius, which is essentially, what it is, whatever it is you're expressing in your life that is in like the complete alignment with who you are, and expressing that as your career, essentially your life's work, and that's your zone of genius. But on the way to that, he also talks about your upper limit problem, where your ego won't say you, it's more your ego, as you're moving towards it. So you're talking about, like you've been talking
Yeah.
about this podcast, and you're taking the program and yada yada, and you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it, you're actually doing it. You
There's a
will,
limit to where I will allow myself to go or get to.
without trying to self-sabotage
Yeah.
yourself, you
Oh,
know
I am such a self-sabotager.
and so it's this idea of like, people, he studied like, countless people, and had like tons of clients where this happens to, like, for example, like they'll get like the promotion that they always dreamed of, but then like they'll get in a car crash like the same day, or like something they will manifest,
And then they'll lose it because they weren't able to maintain that vibrational energy that attracted it in the first place.
they cut off that flow of energy
Yeah.
because it's too uncomfortable. They
So
don't
when,
believe that they deserve it.
yeah,
They
that's
don't
that's
believe
really,
that it can be allowed.
yeah, and that's actually what happened with my last relationship. He basically started to self-sabotage, and normally that would have been me years ago. Like,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, because my upper limit, my fear, my limit is actually getting married and having kids. And when I got with him, I overcame that belief. And it came from being afraid of getting hurt and like losing freedom. Those two things tied together. So if
Yeah.
I'm not in a relationship, I can't get hurt.
Yeah.
I've only witnessed painful relationships all my life, right? And I've
For
even
sure.
been hit on by married men. So it's like when you're talking about self-sabotaging and my upper limit is like, oh my gosh, I'm getting too close to getting married. Run, 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 ruin it, run, run, run. But then you said people feel like what did you say? They don't deserve it. So he I think felt like he didn't deserve love. He never got love like as a child and whatnot. And so felt like
Yeah.
he didn't deserve it. And then once he had me and the way I love, I'm so nurturing, I'm so giving, I'm so people pleasing. I just give, 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 give. I never put myself first. Got it from my mom, right? We talked about that. And so he loved it so much. Could not believe that this was how much love he was getting and attention, and like never had it before.
It was it wasn't congruent with what he believed he was allowed to have, right?
Exactly.
Essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
there's another example of this upper limit thing you're talking about. Beautiful. I love that you told me about this. I feel like I've heard it before, but I didn't know the guy's name or what the book was or whatnot. But I definitely believe that we have these limiting beliefs that's what they are. They limit us. We don't believe we can have more than this much money.
yeah.
So for example, I actually told myself, I'm like, I want to make six figures. This was a couple years ago. I want to make six figures. I deserve it. I was working on my money mindset, right? So when I got my W-2 for a job that I had a couple years ago, it came, I swear the universe was fucking with me. It was $99,996
That's like so hilarious.
because it's like I still didn't make the six figures.
I
But it's
know.
like it's a few
Yeah.
dollars away from seeing that number. So it's like, okay, I manifested until I started doubting or letting that creep back in.
Wow.
So I still subconsciously didn't believe that it would ever be possible to make that much money,
Yeah.
right?
That is so crazy.
It was wild. It was really wild. But yeah. Oh, by the way, before we sign off, I wanted to tell you, you totally remind me of the girl from Modern Family, Alex with the glasses.
Oh, really? The younger
Oh
sister?
my gosh. Is she younger?
Oh, is she? Do I know who's Alex? The sister? Oh, the older one? The one that
With the
is,
glasses and the black hair.
don't, I thought both. That's why I didn't know who you meant, because both of the sisters had glasses, didn't they?
No, one of them was the hot dumb one, and the other one was the nerdy hot one, like becomes
The,
hot one. But like you look like her as her older self in the show when
oh,
she's
I've only
like,
seen the earlier shows.
yeah, no, she now in the show I think they just ended it finally, but she becomes like super attractive, and because she's like this nerdy girl in the beginning, so
Yeah.
she becomes a hot nerd instead of just a nerd.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, you totally remind me of her, like the shape of your face and the way you talk and your demeanor. It's like very her. It's cute. It's good. It's a good thing. I
I'm gonna go
promise.
Google her.
All right. So any last words or any takeaways, anything that you want people to know?
Just listening to you, when you get into podcast speaker mode, you sound like you are meant to be doing this. I think you're serving those women that are like who you used to be.
Yeah, basically. I know, because I still am pieces of that. You're always evolving and growing and learning. And I look at every experience, every person that comes into my life, even for a moment, it's for a reason. It's a mirror of how you're feeling or thinking about yourself and your life and what steps you need to take and what you should focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. Thank you. I love you. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
Inwardrising.ca is my website. And
Inwardrising.ca.
yeah.
Okay, I'll include that in the show notes.
And you can follow me at Inward Rise on Instagram.
Inward Rise. Inward Rise. Am I following you yet?
I don't know. I don't know if we even talked about that.
No, I don't think we did. Well, I will be following you, my dear.
Great. Okay.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
Okay. Have a great night. Bye.
You too. See, didn't I tell you that it was raw as hell and real as hell and just so damn good? I want to know what you took away from it, but I'm going to give you some takeaways. Y'all ready? Number 1, people pleasing comes from feeling unworthy and unlovable. Love cannot and should not be earned. You are worthy of love as you are and without doing anything. Just being you is enough. Number 2, you have to change your beliefs about yourself in order to attract the partner that you want. Number 3, pay attention to the signals you're receiving to get back into alignment. Number 4, everything is energy. Negative and low vibrating energies like fear, anger, or resentment is getting stored in your body and is manifesting as illnesses. Number 5, don't wait until the universe gets super loud with your ass to force you to do the thing that you know you're supposed to be doing. It'll get ugly. Do it now. Number 6, watch out for narcissists. They have a quality about them that's undeniably difficult to resist, but for your own good, run. Number 7, there are no coincidences. Everything is happening for you, not to you. Number 8, you're beautiful. And when someone tells you so, say thank you and feel that shit. Number 9, anytime you have an inspired thought or idea, act on it immediately. Don't block the flow. Number 10, trying to make things work is only pushing you away from yourself and out of alignment. Number 11, become aware that you're a people pleaser. Own your shit. Number 12, put down the weight and feel all the emotions you've been running from your entire life. Number 13, sit with yourself for a while. Focus on your breath. Turn off distractions. See what comes up. There's something there, it'll come up. Give it the space, it'll surface. Number 14, if meditating is hard, start journaling. Go out into nature. Just be with yourself without distraction. Number 15, observe the thoughts that come up and find your way to better ones. You're not going to be able to jump from a negative extreme thought to a positive one, so don't try to take that big cognitive leap. Soften the negative thought. Number 16, your beliefs are what's creating your emotions. Your emotions are creating your behaviors. Your behaviors are creating your life. So change your thoughts, change your life. Number 17, your current circumstances are manifestations of beliefs and thoughts that you've had in the past. Number 18, as you move toward the thing that you're meant to do, your ego will make you self-sabotage because you have an upper limit. To help with that, read The Big Leap. Oh my gosh, so those were all the takeaways that I got from it. I want to know what you got from it. So meet me on Instagram at Raw Vegan Rita and at Trading Raw Stories. And in the Facebook group, we have a private community. Oh my gosh, it's 11:11 as I'm saying this. Please join me there. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. Tell me your story and tell me what you took away from this episode, the other episodes. What's your favorite episode? What you learned from it? I just want to connect with you. So meet me there. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. And if you felt like you got something out of this episode, I feel called to ask you to think of one person that needs to hear it and share it with them. Text it to them, email it to them, whatever floats your boat. And also, if you would be so kind as to leaving a review, kind of be nice though, because I have that fear of judgment thing still kind of lurking deep. No, but really, if you would leave a review, that would be so helpful and I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for being here. I know that you have a gazillion other things to do with your life, podcasts to listen to, books to read, people to hang out with, restaurants to explore now that they're open. So thank you for listening. I don't know where you are in the world. I'd love to know. But yeah, let's connect and let's talk again next Tuesday. Yeah? Sweet. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it is. I love you. Bye.